now with the whole world that is changing around us, we should really work towards having a collective leadership as a community or as a society. We should not look at a leadership role as just a one person role, just there is this one leader who is our superhero and he or she will solve all our problems. I think we have come to an age where we really need to work together, collectively work together.
Do you know what human rights are? Are you aware of human trafficking scenario in the world? Do you know that India tops the rank when it comes to human trafficking? To know about all of these, today we have with us Miss Emarine Kharbhih. She is Program Manager of Impulse NGO Network. She is an Acumen India Fellow and GP Birla Fellowship for Women Leadership of Ananta Aspen Center. She has represented Asia in International Youth Advisory Congress. Hello, ma'am. Delighted to have you with us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me and for thinking of me to represent Northeast. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. So let me begin with my list of questions that I have for you. So, as I had mentioned in your introduction, and you are now that associated with Impulse NGO Network, which works for human trafficking. So, please share something about that and your views towards it.
Mhm. Okay, so Impulse NGO Network is a 26 years old organization that works on anti-human trafficking in the northeast of India and the porous borders of Nepal, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. It basically operates through a holistic approach called the impulse model. This impulse model was something that was founded by the founder, Mrs. Kharbhih. The model really works around a strong partnership with different stakeholders, because human trafficking itself is a very dynamic, it's a dynamic problem. Hence, we believe that we need to have strong partnership with law enforcement agencies, different civil society organizations, lawyers, service providers like shelter homes, psychologists, different kinds of doctors, because we want to make sure that there is a well-rounded assistance being given to every human trafficking cases, especially cross-border human trafficking cases. And also, we also work on the prevention part of anti-human trafficking in the Northeast, because we realize that Northeast is a region where it faces a lot of conflict, insurgency. There are a lot of natural calamities happening in the region. Hence, there's a lot of movement of people, especially women and children, to look for better opportunities in different cities, in bigger metropolitan cities in India, and also to different countries that they actually cross the border through Nepal, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. We realize that the reason for them being trafficked is because of abject poverty. Human traffickers look for the most vulnerable people in the community to traffic people. Hence, Impulse NGO Network has a different sister concern organization called Impulse Social Enterprises. In this enterprises, we create livelihood opportunities for women, because in Northeast India, women are very good with, they've got very good weaving skills. So we use that for our advantage, and we create livelihood for them. And we have a for-profit business model where we make sure that there's an equal distribution of profit from the low level bottom, from the bottom level to the top level. So yeah, this is what we do in brief in the Northeast.
That is very beautiful to hear. That, yeah, I do agree that the women are very, I should say, rich in weaving quality of this. And yeah, you are using it to their benefit is really good for the society. So, and my next question is that often people fail to know what human rights are. Would you like to highlight some of them?
Mm, I think it really depends on the context. I mean, like what kind of people know about their human rights. People in living in the urban setting more or less know what human rights are. They know their their legal rights in the country, what the Constitution of India has given them. But when we talk about people coming from rural areas, especially the remote villages where there are no connectivity, I think that is where the problem lies. They really don't know what their rights are. For example, a lot of girls, women and girls, young girls, gets trafficked from a lot of remote villages in the Northeast region. And these families will not come out and report that their children are going missing or they're being exploited, sexually exploited anywhere, because they see that there's a source of livelihood coming into their family. Hence they don't want to go and report, and even if they go missing, they feel like the police work against them. Hence they don't want to go and report, so they don't really know their legal rights. And for them, another problem is hiring a lawyer to fight their cases. They also think that it is an expensive affair. But in India, they have there is a National Legal Service Authority of India, and there are different district legal service authority which provides free legal aid. But a lot of people in the rural villages don't really know about this. Hence this is one of the aspect. Impulse NGO network, we also look at giving awareness to these communities about their legal rights, especially free legal aid, and that it's not an expensive affair. We also talk a lot about human rights, what their rights are, what are the international human rights that really protects them from being exploited, or what are the rights given to them under the Constitution of India. So yeah, more or less, in the rural community, it's still very narrow, or about it's still the knowledge of their rights, human rights especially, it's still very, very narrow.
That is very sad to hear that we stay in an urban culture where we know everything, and then we have the rural part of the country which is totally unaware about all of these. So, do you think that people are like you already answered half of my question earlier, which is that do you think that the people are unaware, or are they are totally negligent about the human rights, both in urban, I would say, and in rural part of the country?
I would say it's like a mixed bag of understanding. They somehow know what their rights are as a human being, but they really don't want to approach anybody because they feel it's too taxing on them. Should They have a primary concern of earning livelihood, so they feel like, should they waste their effort or time going to courts and meeting police, or should they really wait, you put that time into best utilization to earn their life. So yeah, it's a mixed bag of, I'm sure everybody have their basic logic sense of what human rights are, but they're not very sure how they really navigate that area of fighting for their rights. It's still very weak.
Yeah, very rightly said. So while I was going through human trafficking, I found out that Pakistan, Thailand, China, India, and Bangladesh are the top amongst the top 10 countries with the largest number of human trafficking victims around the world. And not, I should say, not to my surprise, India tops the list with the 14 million victims. So what are your views on that?
Hmm. I'll talk about the northeast of India, because the northeast of India is situated in the porous borders of Nepal, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. So, and these are open borders. So the northeast of India is actually a transit source and destination of human trafficking. That's why there's a huge number of human trafficking cases, like you mentioned, in India, because there's like an inward and outward going of human trafficking. There are a lot of women and children who are being trafficked from Nepal. Nepal is another poor country. So they are being trafficked from Nepal and they are coming to India. And I'm sure you must have seen in a lot of metropolitan families, you will see a Nepali girl or a child working in their families. And
True.
they would say that they're from India, but they're basically, they've crossed the border from Nepal and come to work. This is one of the aspect, and there are a lot of people crossing from Bangladesh also, coming to India. And now we have an open border with Myanmar, since now the country Myanmar itself has opened themselves to the world. So that is the prime area now of human trafficking. A lot of girls and women are being trafficked to Myanmar, where they are being trained to do certain things, and from Myanmar then they are being trafficked to other countries like Singapore, Malaysia. And so the whole nexus that is currently happening through Myanmar. So yeah, this is how the situation is like for human trafficking in India.
That is quite a shock for me. Like, it'll take for me minutes to digest what you just said right now.
I mean, in Manipur, it's an area in the northeast. So there is one district that is closely situated near the border of Myanmar. It's called Churachandpur district. And in that district, there are a lot of agents, employment agencies and agents who would advertise jobs like they're
Okay.
selling chana or something,
Oh
they
my
would
God.
advertise jobs saying that there is a job for domestic help for 80,000 rupees per month, 1 lakh per month, which is very unreasonable. It doesn't sound logical at all or sensible, but a lot of people fall for it. A lot of girls fall for it, and they would feel like, why should I live in Manipur where I see no opportunities for myself? I'd rather go across the country and go to Myanmar. And these agents, they promise you, that they'll train them and all of that, so they really fall for it. And who doesn't want to have a better life? So hence they cross the border that way. So there are so many scenarios of how women and children really gets trafficked.
Oh my God, that is again quite a shock for me to hear. Like 80,000 per month is nowhere relevant, but still people are a victim of that,
Exactly.
and you can't help it. So, do you think that if, as a nation, if we come forward, like one person, one nation, if we come forward, will we be able to eradicate this problem for the country, followed by the world? Like, we'll stand out in the crowd?
Mm. Well, we have this ideal in our head, no, that we want to change the world,
Hmm.
and we want to eradicate certain things. But I think human trafficking is a really complex problem. It's not simple at all. And I'm not trying to be a pessimist, but the situation is so difficult because we will never be able. It's just so difficult that the supply chain of human trafficking itself, if we try and track it down, we will realize that there's always some politician, some influential person who's behind this racket, but their name will never come out because their nexus itself, their racket itself is so complex. So even if we catch the trafficker, the agent, that agent will not know the other person who's in that nexus. So yes, we wish to want to eradicate, human trafficking, but and as a nation, I think yes, we do have this hope that we can all come together to eradicate it. As a citizen, we can always report back cases. We can only address human trafficking when there are reporting of cases, that people are missing. We can, as a citizen, we can do that. And as a citizen living in metropolitan cities, we see that we have domestic help coming from Nepal or Bangladesh. We should definitely ask them where they're coming from and see, check the documents, whether if they've been brought by some agent. And as they are working in our house, who do we give that salary to? Do we give it to them or to some agent? Because these agents then take all that money and they promise to give to their family, but the family never receive it. So there are a lot of
Okay.
complex problems, and I think as citizens we can do our bit in reporting and understanding, making conversations in our family, whether or not we're legally bringing somebody to work in our house.
But as you said that if we ask for them the documents, like for the house help, if we are going and asking them the documents, obviously they'll be hesitant enough because they know
Definitely.
that back at the town, their parents are getting the money. So how do
Mm,
we solve that issue? Because until unless that person says up,
mm,
we cannot
mm.
help actually.
So yeah, that's the thing. They themselves, they don't want to go back, to their own villages because they know there's no livelihood opportunity. And there are so many situations. Uh, there are help who come to our homes and they will lie about where they come from, and even their agents will lie for them. So yeah, it's very difficult to really find out. And we're all, it really, yeah, it's actually a very complicated problem. We can't just solve by asking them itself also. Yeah.
Very rightly
So,
said.
but we can always,
Hmm.
verify, check with the agents, because I think there are a lot of agencies who provide these domestic helps in most of the country, and a lot of people go through these agencies. So we should verify with the agencies whether they're legally bringing these people. Are they from India or are they from somewhere else? Have they been subjected to some exploitation in the past somewhere else, or things like that? Yeah, yeah,
Yes, we
that we
all
really
should.
verify.
Yeah, we all should stand together in this and make sure that these things not happen anymore of it, because it's quite a shock to hear that
Yeah.
there's the country worshipping women, and then there's the part of country that is all involved into human trafficking. So
Mhm.
we should, as a nation, should stand forward towards it. And ma'am, towards the end, I would like to ask that any special message you would like to share to the audience.
Mm, Uh, well, I really don't have much, but I would like to talk a little bit about leadership. Now with the whole world that is changing around us, we should really work towards having a collective leadership as a community or as a society. We should not look at a leadership role as just a one-person role. Just there is this one leader who is our superhero, and he or she will solve all our problems. I think we have come to an age where we really need to work together, collectively work together in whatever capacity you can. And that is the real meaning of leadership. That is what I would want to say.
You altogether gave me a different perspective, because we often approach leader as one person who will talk for the crowd, stand out and everything like that. But here you are saying that we all should be leaders and support the cause. And I do agree that your NGO is really working for a very good and noble cause, and I hope it flourishes as it has been for the past 26 years. And it was really nice talking to you, ma'am. A sweet, sober, nice talk we had. And still we
Thank
got to
you.
know,
It was nice talking to you.
thank you. And still we got to know so many shocks we got, no,
Yeah.
without a doubt. But yeah, it was really nice talking to you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.